All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My name is Jeanette the Oracle. Let me adjust my laptop here. And I'm coming to you today to do a special channel message for the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which is occurring on tomorrow, the 5th. Today is the 4th. But this is the day that I was called to do this channeling, so here we are. As you know, it's been a while since I've been here in this particular space going live for channeling. I alternate between the different platforms that I will do channelings on. So, but if you are coming in and joining me live, I ask that you say hello, let me know where you're coming from, introduce yourself. Sending good vibes and blessings to everyone else who is also joining, as well as anybody who'll be watching the recording. This is Sacred Council, Spiritual Council, and the intention is to receive guidance for us and our journey at this time. And I want to move this a little bit so I have more room for this. So this full moon, and I put this information also in the description box. So, definitely check that out if you're watching the recording. But this eclipse specifically is closing off a cycle that began with the new moon solar eclipse back at the beginning of November. I believe it was November 8th of 2022. And so with the way that I interpret astrology as an intuitive astrologist, the new moon solar eclipses mark a 6-month manifestation cycle that we can use to support our spiritual growth, our personal and professional development. Use that for achieving any types of goals that we may have, etc. So I believe that eclipse was at 2 degrees of Scorpio, and this full moon lunar eclipse is also in Scorpio, which is rare that the corresponding full moon eclipse is in the same sign. So this is also really special, but it also is a really profound and intense, both positive, neutral, and negative versions of intensity associated with that. So I thought it would be good to come on and see what guidance is there for us. Now, this eclipse is also going to be ending the eclipse season that we're in, because I just did a channeling 2 weeks ago for the new moon solar eclipse in Aries. And so that's the new cycle that we're currently in and influenced by through October of this year. So that energy of newness and beginnings and the momentum along, whatever area of your natal chart that is residing in is definitely in full force. But this time is the timing of, again, the ending of that previous cycle. So the 2-week cycle, when we have the eclipse season, so to speak, there's always a lot going on. There's always a lot that comes up. There's always a lot of opportunity for self-reflection, for adjustments in how we're showing up in our lives, what we want to double down on and, just be better at and get better at, so to speak, and to keep moving forward. And this eclipse season is no different. We have the Mercury retrograde, which is currently happening. Pluto just went retrograde in Aquarius. And retrograde energy is always there to support us in having the time and space to reassess, to adjust, to re-strategize, and come out stronger on the other end. And I know that retrogrades tend to get a bad rap just because, especially Mercury retrograde, we're like, oh, the tech issues or the communication issues. But that's really just the surface stuff. Really what comes down to it is we periodically have time throughout the entire year, throughout our lives, to do this self-reflective work, to show up differently, to evolve, to be better, do better, all those kinds of things. So that's definitely the energy and the vibe that we're in. Let me take a sip. I'm currently sipping on a cafe or a latte, but it's, what did I put in this? Honey almond. So I did a almond extract with honey and a single shot of espresso. with soy milk because I can't really do dairy milk like that. Okay, so are y'all excited? You ready to get in? All right, so we will definitely start with some deep breaths to center in. I have like all sorts of decks over here now because I'm not quite sure where we're gonna get pulled. I know one of the decks I definitely have to use, but this is really going to be interesting. So let's crowd in together. I say interesting because eclipse time is it's a potent time that the universe walks with us and the divine walks with us, and so it's more often than not, or prioritizing really listening and seeing what is there for us, rather than trying to project necessarily our intentions on it. We can still, of course, have our intentions and our wants and our desires, but that definitely should be coming secondary, first and foremost, to what spirit is saying to us, what spirit's speaking to our soul. So I invite you to sit up nice and tall. Take a few deep breaths, closing your eyes, settling in. Ideally having your feet on the floor if possible. And just bring your attention to your breath. Bringing all of your consciousness, all of your awareness to this present moment now. Allowing any concerns of the past, the present, or the future to fall away for the moment. You can always attend to them after you prioritize this sacred time of communion with spirit. So really allow your own spirit to come in fully, to reign supreme in all of your humanity, bringing your mind, your emotions, your will, your body into perfect coherent resonance with it, removing any obstacles to that coherence, that harmony, and sitting in the place of peace, which is your natural state, in addition to any other divine qualities that your soul, your spirit wants to express. And now also, because we are in such a potent spiritual time with a lot of energies, divine as well as not divine, I call in and welcome forth the power and the presence of the spirits of the directions, the spirits of the elements, and the archangels to create a sacred container of protection around each of you, engaging with this time of council and around the message itself, period. Neutralizing and removing any and all harmful energies or entities. Continually transmuting and continually purifying and sanctifying and divinitizing. I pray that my voice ring loud and true, the messages that come forth at the threshold of the great mysteries in my role as oracle. May they support the ascension of our collective human consciousness, the reclamation of our soul sovereignty, the reinforcement of our purpose, and the revitalization of our spirits, of our drives, of our passions, to share our gifts, and to express as our true and authentic selves. And continuing to breathe, staying connected to your breath. All right, so the intention for the messages today are to take an accounting of the wisdom that has been gained, the power that has been reclaimed, and that which is available to us to address for this last leg of the Taurus Scorpio nodal transit. That transit actually completes in mid-July when the nodes shift to Aries and Libra. So we really only have about 2 months or so left, so about 60 days. Okay, so again, wisdom we have gained, the power we have reclaimed, and that which is available for us to address, to support us on living the fullest expression of ourselves and staying aligned with our soul purpose for the remainder of this transit. Okay. Now, of course, if anybody has any questions about what comes through, and or if you have a question for yourself specifically, I'm assuming I have time because depending on how long this might go, I might have to bounce. But if you would like to also ask a question for yourself, you can do that as well. And I also ask that whether you are watching this live or recording at whatever platform that you're seeing this, please subscribe, please like, please comment, etc. And if you would like to support my work, the donation information should be scrolling at the bottom of the screen. PayPal. So there's a lot of energy. I'm going to get an oracle card first to provide a counterpoint for the messages for this council. It came out immediately. God is good. Okay, so interesting. So we are definitely having a conversation with God today, and as we are, because again, I'm Jeanette the Oracle. For those of you who do not know what Oracle means, for me, it is one who sits at the threshold of the great mysteries. Okay, so we're going to start with three cards. Which deck? Okay, so I'm going to pull 3 oracle cards regarding those 3 topics that I just mentioned from the Threads of Fate oracle deck. Gorgeous deck. I actually got this as a birthday gift a few years ago. Shout out to Samuel Estelle, for those of you who know Samuel. Okay, so the 3 topics again were wisdom we have gained or attained, right? Power we have reclaimed. And those areas available for us to address that support our continued elevation and full expression of our soul purpose. Hello to folks coming in. I appreciate you being here. Again, please introduce yourself to the space. Tell us where you're joining from and what you might be drinking or sipping on. This is interesting. Now, I normally, let's see if I take the reverse on that. I will. Okay, so the bottom card of the deck is Ascension. And I chuckle at that because this was the card that came out for the new moon solar eclipse in Aries channeling I did 2 weeks ago. So I will take the cards that came out as they came out because it is on purpose and with purpose. And this is a reminder to also pay attention to that channeled message that came through for Aries. Astrologically, I also can see that that makes sense because both Aries and Scorpio are traditionally ruled by Mars. In the current tropical astrology system, Pluto now rules Scorpio, but again, traditionally, both energies are ruled by Mars. So that connection is not out of the blue either, but still that came out. Okay, so the card related to wisdom that we have gained, and I'll be reading from the book, The Messages for this, but the wisdom we have gained from what we've experienced over the past 6 months is the Power card, which I find interesting because the second thing is supposed to be about the power we reclaimed, but Power card is wisdom that we have gained. So let me actually read that. What I like about this Oracle deck in particular is it groups the Oracle cards into 5 different types. So there's the fire cards, water, air, earth, right? So each of the 4 elements. And with those, there's a description about what the main message is. And then it complements with an animal totem message in a way, a plant ally message, and a crystal message. So all of that is there for you to support you if you want to work and go a little bit more deeper. And then the 5th group are, I think they're referenced as the throne cards. So these would kind of be like the major arcana in the tarot deck, but they're not major arcana. They're really these archetypes. And those are just straight messages. And there's a beneficial application of the archetype and a negative or a maleficent application of the archetype. So this is, I'm assuming, going to be one of the element cards. Yeah, it's element, it's a fire. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Say hi. Folks coming in. Thank you for introducing yourself. Okay, so this says you are more, so this is, again, wisdom that we have learned and gained over the past 6 months. Okay, so it's not something that you need to discover about yourself. You've discovered it and have come to a place of integration with this. So essentially, you've arrived already with this energy, yeah? So this card says, you are more powerful than you can imagine. This card serves as a reminder that within you lies an infinite well of power that you can source whenever you choose. Throughout our lives, we may have given our power to others or had it stripped away, but we always have the ability to call it back. The exercise it provides is sit or lay quietly for a moment, focus on your breath, begin to bring awareness to the solar plexus, which is the upper abdomen area. This is your power center. Imagine you are sitting inside it. How does it feel? Do you feel lots of energy here, or does it feel stagnant? Imagine there's a glowing seed in the pit of your stomach. It is your power. Now imagine holding it and watching it grow. Feel what messages it has for you. What does it need from you? Continue to come back to nurture your power. Okay, so the animal, as you can see, is the bear. So let me read the message there. The bear teaches us that understanding and working with our personal cycles amplifies our personal power. While it is widely accepted that bears hibernate, this is actually not the case. They go into a deep sleep called a torpor, which means that while their bodily functions slow, such as heart rate and digestion, they are still trying to do this with one hand. They're still able to wake up if startled. Okay. They go into torpor to survive the winter when food is not readily available, and do so by eating more in the fall to store up body fat. As humans, we may not sleep for months, but we all have our personal cycles. It is important we know what to expect from ourselves. You may not feel very productive during the new moon or even an entire season, and that is okay. Okay? I feel that's an important message. I'll read that line again. You may not feel very productive during a new moon or even an entire season, and that is okay. There will be other times when you have way more energy and space within you. Knowing these things about yourself is powerful as it helps you prepare and maximize your potential. The plant LI on here, I don't think they actually drew it, but it's the California poppy. Poppy is a guide for us when we feel disconnected from our personal power during trying times. It teaches us how to ground into our true feelings and experiences, despite how painful they may be. And in the strengthening of our container, it amplifies our personal power. Poppies are nyctinastic, I think that's how it's pronounced, which means they close at night and open to the sun. This serves as a reminder for us to source light where we can, but to also have boundaries in place that prevent our power from leaking. Call upon Poppy as a teacher for creating a container for your personal power and transmuting painful experiences through strength. And then the crystal ally is citrine. Citrine is all about getting things done. It strengthens our determination, will, and ability to bring our ambitions into physical form. Its fiery energy clears our power center of any feelings of unworthiness and encourages us to take action. Call upon citrine when you need help clearing any blockages around abundance, success, taking action, and personal power. Okay, so that again is wisdom that we have gained. So we already have mastery here. And then let me say hello as well to new folks. Thank you for joining. Take another sip. Again, I'm drinking a vanilla almond latte, single shot espresso, and soy milk. I give thanks continually to my Lightworker Incubator clients for getting me that gift. It was beautiful. All right, so now let's shift to the second topic for the intention for the channeling today, which is around the power that we have reclaimed. Okay, so we just did wisdom that we have gained over the past 6 months. Now we're looking at power that we have reclaimed over the last 6 months, and that is patience. Patience. And I feel a lot of wisdom with this card. I always like to joke that I'm not a patient person, and I'm really not, but just seeing that card shows me like how much I've actually been able to root and ground to become more patient than even is natural for me in general. So I definitely can see that. I'm assuming that's going to be a water or an earth card, but let's see. I will read that as well. Yep, it's an earth card. Okay. So the message for this card, beautiful, by the way, I love these colors. This card brings the message that you must be patient and trust divine timing. So again, this is something we've already learned and gained. So we've arrived here. We're not trying to get this. Humans are anxious creatures. We know what we want and we want it now. But we are also working in collaboration with the divine, which means that sometimes we have to wait longer than we would like. Looking to the earth can be helpful when we are working to cultivate patience. We cannot rush the seasons. A tadpole cannot rush its metamorphosis. A tree cannot rush its growth. This card asks you to have faith that your own process is happening in perfect time. Now, the animal wisdom for this card is a turtle. So, turtle is a call toward steady determination. Sometimes people who struggle with patience decide to give up on something simply because they are unable to wait for things to come into fruition. Any delays discourage them. Something to note about turtles is that their land speeds is about 3 to 4 miles per hour, but their speed in water is 10 to 12 miles per hour. So that's basically like they go 3 times as fast in water compared to land. So environment plays a role in speed of something happening. So be sure to catch that, yeah? So this is a reminder that if we are patient and wait for the right time, and I'll add into this the right environment, we will have less resistance and more progress. The spirit of turtle calls for resolve, grit, and persistence. You can call upon turtle when you need assistance in sustaining consistent effort in your long-lasting venture. The plant ally for this is chamomile. When we are met with resistance or a delay, it is not uncommon that we experience an increase in anxiety or frustration as we feel we do not have control. Chamomile is a go-to tea for before bed because of its sedative effects, but its medicine is good at any time. Chamomile has a calming effect on our nervous system, so it comes in handy if we feel like we are overthinking or stressed. It teaches us to be calm and secure in the process, despite it not being our ideal timing. Call upon the spirit of chamomile when you need support with surrendering to the teachings of patience and divine timing. And in the crystal wisdom is actually not a crystal, it's petrified wood. So petrified wood is fossilized roots and trunks of ancient trees. It is a stone of steady growth and patience. Petrified wood holds the wisdom of time. It teaches us how to not sweat the small stuff. It is a reminder that divine timing will always be better than our personal timing, and that we must always trust that. It encourages us to stay the course, but not to push the river as it flows all on its own. Continue to show up to your work, continue to reach toward growth, but do not rush. Call upon petrified wood for ancient knowing in the process of divine timing. Beautiful. Okay, so now, take another sip. Let me know in the comments if this is really resonating with folks. And feel free to share how it might be if you feel comfortable. So now we're going to touch on the third topic for the channeling. And that is looking at what's available for us to address moving forward for the remaining part of this Taurus Scorpio nodal transit, which is only about 2 more months left, because again, the North Node will be shifting into Aries and Libra in mid-July. So it's already, the beginning of May. So about 2 months out. So we got the void card out. It came out reversed, but it's the void. I'm going to leave it reversed because that's how it came out, because I don't actually know. It's been a while since I've read that card, so I don't know if there's actually a beneficial and a negative interpretation of the archetype. It might not, because it's the void. So it might be like the world card. There's no up or down with that, really. So let me read this. So this is, I'll say, the becoming energy rather than the future energy. And I'm saying becoming because it is an intentional co-creation of what is for us to focus on. So the void can be deeply uncomfortable. It is nothing, an emptiness that penetrates all aspects of self. We may feel blank. What we were once passionate about feels cold to us. We may not be able to see or sense anything about where we are going next. We may enter a void after all that we have known is not what we thought it was. Ooh, is anyone there right now? Let me know in the comments. It may feel like disbelief. It may feel like you don't have any faith. It may feel like you don't know what is real and what is not. This is the part we must surrender to. This may also indicate a time where you are questioning everything you believe in, spiritual beliefs, or questioning your significance in the world. Okay, so I'll read that again. This may also indicate a time when you are questioning everything you believe in, what we might also call a crisis of faith, or questioning your significance in the world. When you are in the void, you may have an instinct to fill the empty space. The message is messaging. The message is messaging. There's still one more paragraph left, but my mind is being brought back to, my eyes being brought back rather to that that line that says, we may enter a void after all we have known is not what we thought it was. And this is that sense of feeling that there's still a missing piece. And we can't quite put our finger on it, but something is still missing. And we think that it's something for us to acquire or achieve when it really is the divine. It's your own spirit that you're craving. So let me continue with the last paragraph. Because we can get uncomfortable here, we may miss some of the lessons. We are taught to constantly push forward, right? But we reclaimed this power of patience, but we understand the conditioning of capitalism. The void teaches us to be still and okay with uncertainty, right? And so, as someone who is the oracle who sits at the threshold of the great mystery, that's what we're in relationship to and with. That's what our spirit communes with. That's the missing piece. That's the magic. Trying to escape this space ensures we stay here or return sooner than we would like. Ooh, the message is messaging. We don't stay in the void. We don't stay at the threshold. Just like we don't stay in winter. After winter must come spring, right? Spring always comes next. We're going to transition out of sitting at the threshold, sitting in the space of what we call the void. But that's not where we stay. If we were going to stay, we wouldn't have incarnated as a human being. We go to that sacred space to get a word from God, to have our spirit replenished, to have it revitalized, to come back here refreshed and reinforced, right? So if we don't know that, we can inadvertently keep ourselves stuck there because we think that there's something that we have to fix with ourselves instead of using that time as a time of sacred devotion and a time of listening and a time of just receiving. You don't have to be the good girl, the good boy, the good child to receive grace, to receive love. You're accepted fully and unconditionally by that which has birthed you into existence. The identities that we have ascribed ourselves to in society and to this world are not actually our truth. They are the clothes that our soul, our spirit wears as we navigate this thing called humanity. But those go away just as they get taken on when we come into life and leave life. So we're not supposed to stay there. So if we try to escape it, we stay there longer until we get what we're supposed to receive. You know, mother is always going to make sure we get what we need, or we'll leave that space sooner than we would like and not actually get all that we could have. So you may have an instinct to fill the emptiness, but remind yourself that emptiness is a prayer. And I would say, you know why emptiness is a prayer is because it is an affirmation of what is real and true, not what has been created. Things that have been created are things that transition, but that which is real and true is timeless. And that is the purest prayer, emptiness. Resonating with the void and patience, it feels like walking in a dark tunnel and just not seeing the light at all. Yeah, for sure. It's trust and believe. It is not easy. Even though I said all of that, and also with the message, nothing about that said that or implied that it would feel like all your cares and worries go away. Like it really is a so okay, when I'm speaking about, you know, prioritizing that which is real and true, necessarily means that that which is not real and true, i.e., all the identities that we have assumed as to be ourselves, has to drop away and fall away. And that is an experience like death, not death in a sense of loss of life, but it can register like that and feel like that. And it can be really frustrating. It can be hard to reconcile with the mind because we're like, okay, yes, I get that. I need this. My spirit needs this. And I also need to survive in this patriarchal, capitalistic, hyper Christian world. Right? It's a both and. Um, and it is a faith walk to be at the threshold. Because this battle between what's more powerful, your spirit, great spirit, etc., or the human world comes up. Like these are the poles. This is the polarity. What actually has the power? What do we really believe runs shit? And it takes a lot of digging into um, our faith in our innate knowledge, not necessarily our learned knowledge, but our innate wisdom, um, to affirm, hold true to the fact that we did not create ourselves. We did not bring ourselves into existence. All of this is by the grace of the divine. How we manage that is up to us, right? But we don't give life. So the real power is is not in our hands, not for real, for real. Um, mm, we get comfortable with nothing. Wow, that's incredible. So let me show these three cards together so you can see. I don't know if it's going to be flipped or not, but just to review, the power card is wisdom that we've already gained over the past 6 months. So a sense of personal power. The patience card is the power that we've reclaimed. So um, I would reference this more as a skill, but I'll keep it as power because that's the language that I originally started with. So the power of patience. So we come with these two strengths, and then moving forward, um, really addressing the void, which essentially, in a broader context, is not just spirit, as the message showed us. It is also just like dealing with uncertainty. That is also the great mystery. You know, working towards a goal, whether personal, professional, or whatever, spiritual, whatever. Um, you know, you're on the quote unquote right track when you're in new territory. When you start really making progress, and or actually, if you want to know if you're making progress in the work that you've been trying to do or whatever goals you're going after, and you're like, oh shit, I've never actually been here before. I only know this step and maybe the next step. I might even know many steps in theory, but I've never actually walked this part out before. Everything that I've lived up to this point has given me a good kind of sense of how to show up, but the actual experience I don't have. I don't have anything to reference these specific things that are showing up in my life right now. This is wholly uncertain space. It's wholly new. That's really scary because it puts us in a position where we have to be childlike. We have to really do a lot of deconstruction of like, okay, what assumptions am I making about this situation, my abilities, what I need, what I think I need, what I think I have to have, who I think I need to be connecting with, and asking, okay, is that actually true? Why do I believe that? All of that kind of stuff, right? Where can I learn what I need to learn? Can I be comfortable again with trying and failing? And if I can't, when was the last time I actually like tried something new and failed that actually had some stakes to it rather than just a hobby, right? And for a lot of us, it's been a while. So yeah, like it's going to come up. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in a outwardly spiritual context. To me, as Oracle, everything is spiritual, so I'm always going to see it as that. But that's how you'll know you're in a new space, and so that is what we have to keep front and center in our mind and our consciousness for the remainder. I mean, I would say the remainder part of life, but specifically for the remainder part of this Taurus Scorpio transit over this next 2 months, is you're going to be presented with and confronted with a lot of newness if you're not already and you haven't been here before. How are you going to choose to navigate that? Now, hopefully, and this actually came up with the patience card. I referenced this a little bit about the environment. You have been, and if this is showing up, I would assume that you have, you have been cultivating the environment that supports your learning or your growth or what you are stepping into, even though you don't have the specifics, but you've been forward thinking enough to start putting people, places, things, situations, classes, what have you, on the radar. Have already started engaging with that already to start to do some preliminary clearing of the path that you are walking in so that the environment that you're cultivating for yourself, that you're cultivating the seed of newness, um, has a higher chance of survival, has a higher chance of success, and also has a higher chance of your experience in the process of the growth of that seed being significantly more pleasurable than, the stress and the trauma and the suffering in other contexts. Like, you have that power to be very intentional. Now, another thing that Spirit is bringing to my attention is this idea that we don't know what's next. And I'm gonna sip because the petty is coming. Did you see the shift happen in the oracle? The petty is coming. It is all love, but yeah, this is not tea, but sipping tea time. There's this idea that we don't actually know what's next in the greater context. Not specifically the how, right? The how was related to skills and tactics, and that you do have to learn and grow in. But the why and the what, in general, we do actually know. And just because something has not worked in a particular context that we have preferred does not mean that all of a sudden what we were planning on goes out the window and we have to create this new why or this new what. It just means that wherever you were wasn't a place for you to continue to grow any further, right? So we can see that with jobs. The job, the company that you work with, is just a place, a vehicle for you to express this thing that is connected to your why and your want. If that job does not work out, if that company doesn't work out, whether you're applying to that company or you get let go from that company, does not change your why and your what. You just have to find somewhere else. Now, the process of doing that is not going to feel good, right? It's going to require a lot of patience, right? Like, it's hard internally to do that, to stay motivated, depending on how long it takes. But we can't, it's dangerous to collapse delays or obstacles or timing that, again, this patience card, timing that is something different from what we prefer as being an indication that our purpose, our why, our whatever is wrong or off. That's not the case. Now, that's one group. Now, there is, of course, another group that is having to check in this place of uncertainty, because this also came up with the void card of having gotten to this place, in particular over the last 6 months, and seeing that it's not quite cracked up to what you thought it would be, right? And so, again, this doesn't necessarily mean that the why is off, but it may mean that the what needs to be refined a bit. So sometimes we can get so focused on, how we do things or the skills that we feel we should have, or what have you, that we don't actually allow ourselves, again, to come from this void space, sitting with the divine, sitting with our own spirit, to take a step back and to be like, okay, well, why is this actually important? Like, I have these gifts and talents. I can use them as I feel the need to, but the gifts and the talents are not necessarily sole purpose or a calling, divine assignment, right? Because sole purpose isn't a job. Gifts and talents are there for you to use for personal pleasure or also for making money if you want. And they also can be used for assignments, callings, but they're tools in your toolbox. They're not the sole purpose itself. The sole purpose is just you and your spirit and how your spirit's wanting to move, and how it's wanting to express. Capitalism will make you want to put that into job career, but that's not necessarily the case. So there's that. But then there's also like, okay, if you actually do really have a calling, a vision, a divine assignment, is going to be grand, it's going to be bigger than you. And you might actually just have to go back and reclaim that for yourself and really sit with and ask yourself, okay, like I know I'm trying to be this consultant who is bringing diversity, equity, and inclusion in these spaces, but why am I really here? Why am I really here doing this? There's more. There's more here. Not that, again, the work is not enough, but it's like, oh, there's more though. Well, what's actually behind that? And often it requires giving permission to allow for the creativity of the uncertain energy, which is really our spiritual soul energy, to shine through. And it's just like, oh, this is part of a path to experience and achieve this thing over here. This thing over here is actually the why. So, in what ways am I getting away from that thing over there, infiltrating and influencing and integrating and penetrating this work? Where have I become obsessed with the how and discarded the why? And if you really sit with that, if you've strayed away from that within yourself, it's going to immediately bring up stuff. Like, immediately. You're going to be like, who am I to do that, right? Like, it's going to come up. And hopefully you'll quickly check yourself and be like, oh, wait, let me gather myself. Because I'm here to be life affirming. So joy and pleasure and peace and love and prosperity is actually the root. And if the how of my work, the mission, right, is going to be fully aligned with the vision has to inform everything that goes into the how, into the mission. Everything. It has to inform everything. And I have to be courageous enough and in my power enough, which we are, to do that. And to not ask permission. Because we're innovating in that space. The calls to divine assignments, if we have them, because not everybody necessarily has that. Everybody has soul purpose. Everybody necessarily has like to do has a soul contract for a call or an assignment. just to be clear, right? Like some of us really are just here to chill. And like that's okay. Just as it is to like have a call, like it's all good. The spirit's goal is not to work, and sometimes the spirit goal is to work because it just enjoys it. So that laugh took me off of what I was saying. Please bring that message back, please. Okay, well, I'll just sit with the reminder of not being so obsessed with the how and be more obsessed about the why. Because the why is what is here at the void. Okay. I was getting a sense we're already like close to an hour. How's everybody doing? I probably will be, I think we're sort of on our way out, but the dragons wanted to come through. So it's extremely rare. This might only be like the second or third time that I've brought this deck out. And I think even that has not been publicly, but this is one of my dragon decks. Because everything I have is not for y'all. Most of it's for me. I just give y'all a little bit. So that's already plenty. But let's see what the dragons want to say. They seem to want to be speaking specifically about these next 2 months of the latter part of this experience. Interesting. Okay, so we got 5 of Cups and 5 of Swords. And that's sent from the Temperance card, so our own spirits, our higher selves. So 5s are all about change, right? It can be a change forward or a change backward, or a change of increase or a change of decrease. Decrease is not necessarily negative because it can be an important process of pruning so that you can actually get farther faster because there's less drag, there's less distortion, there's less things providing distractions. So I invite everyone to hold all possibilities of what can be when they deal with or see 5 energy show up. So I'll say that first off. Okay, so one of the first things that is my eye is being drawn to is on this 5 of Cups. The dragon is focused on the 2 cups, right? Rather than the 3 that has been left behind or that has spilled. Whereas if you're familiar with tarot with the traditional Rider-Waite deck, in that card, the person is focused on the 3 that spilled and ignoring the 2 behind that have not spilled. So this is definitely a different interpretation. And it's a emphasis on whenever we see 2 of Cups, it's about the soul. It's about you being in communion with the soul. This is soul power, spiritual power, alignment with self, etc. So that's there. And then for this 5 of Swords, my eye is drawn to the 3 swords that are being highlighted. I believe in the Rider-Waite deck, the person also has 3 swords with him. Let me actually check real quick. Or it should be like all the way in the back. Because that's always how things go, right? Oh, I skipped it. Hold on. Somehow I missed it. That's the 7. One moment, please. Let's see where. There we go. Okay, yeah, so it does have 3, and there's 2 on in the background. So there's 1 sword in hand and then 2 together. And there's lights coming in the background. There's the sunrise happening in the back. So what is the message about this? Why did y'all want to speak? So 3 of Swords, and I think this is going to go to kind of a quote unquote positive interpretation, is, and I say that because the swords in this are lit up. This is mental mastery. It's really seeing things, having discernment, seeing things as they are in truth and reality rather than our conditioning, and even if conditioning comes up, the wisdom of the soul, of the spirit, is able to convey to us that it is conditioning, as a thought pattern, as a belief system that's not necessarily what our consciousness is actually saying to be true, or that's available to us. So this again is reinforcing the message that came through earlier on this void card about the idea, because it's an idea, the idea that we don't know what's next when we do. Our spirit has never wavered. Our spirit is always clear. And so as long as we, this obviously is important to repeat, as long as we stay true to that, we're not new to this, we're true to this, right? As long as we stay true to that, our mind will stay clear and we'll understand what's next. And then we can sit at this threshold of the void in devotional expectation of insight, revelation, and support for that which is becoming and expressing out of us, rather than being like, oh, where are we going? It's like, no, it's there and it's clear. We don't have to pretend that this is not true, right? Again, direct from our spirit, our higher self. We know what's next. We might not know the specifics, but we know the path ahead. We know the general direction. So whenever that idea of, I don't know what's next is coming up, lovingly call yourself out, right? And just be like, nah, actually I do. I do know what's next. Yeah. And defend what you know. Because it's in those places where we feign ignorance, where we can actually get thrown off because we invite distracting energies, negative spirits to hold our attention on other things instead of keeping the focus on what actually fulfills us. We don't have to live other people's lives for us, and we also don't have to join other people in whatever they may be processing mentally. We must first be good stewards of ourselves and our own life path, our own purpose. And that's not hypervigilant. It actually supports the whole, because that's something that we actually all have to do. And if we're all doing that, we'll naturally support each other because it's actually our nature, or most of us, not all, to be clear, because some folks' spirit really does come here to wreak havoc. Because that's their actual function. But for most of y'all who will be watching, that's not the case. So being you is enough. Let God be God. Yeah, okay. So I think we're just gonna get a closing message. Is there any questions coming up from folks about this? Anything you want to share? Oh, there might actually still be more messages with that one. Another message that's coming through with that is speaking to relationships that, and this is relationships across the board of all types, but it's actually new people that you're encountering, not necessarily existing relationships, but could possibly be. But regardless, 5 energy, of course, comes right before the 6, and the 6 is a relational energy, right? It's the co-creation card. So because that came through with actually triple 5 energy, because it was 5 of Cups, 5 of Swords, and the bottom of the deck was the Temperance card, which is 14. That reduces down to a 5. So we actually had triple 5 energy. That speaks to the fact that the new relationships that will be long-standing have not settled in yet. So that means both. Maybe you have been connecting with new people recently and have been actively seeking to connect to new people, again, across the spectrum, family, friends, romantic partners, whatever. And it's still in the beginning stages. The seeds are there, and it's going to take time for that 5 energy to actually lock into a 6, if it is. Like, some of those seeds will develop into a 6, right? Some of them won't. You don't really know. You just have to keep going. And then there's also still new relationships that you're going to be encountering. That's also still going to have to go through that process. So keeping that in mind, that a lot of that kind of unknown, in both of those situations is also a part of this for these next 2 months. Now, when we get to the nodal change of Aries and Libra, there should be a sense of, now, mind you, that will be an 18-month transit, but it will begin that process of that solidification of the 6, because that axis of Aries and Libra is literally the relational axis. So in the tarot card, I would refer to this as getting to that 6 energy. Okay. So a lot of that clarity should be coming through at that point. And then if you choose to deepen that in any way, shape, or form later on, whatever the next level would be, again, regardless of the context, that most likely will be more conducive to happen when we have the new moon solar eclipse happening in Libra, which will be in autumn later this year, and then beginning that 6-month period. Or a possible refining of that, but that potentially can be a time of harvest, if you will. Again, depending on the context at that time. So keep that in mind. So a lot is in flux, but not in flux in the sense of solely meeting brand new people. It is also, you've already connected with some newness, new folks, and are just in the beginning stages of giving time, space, and energy and effort to see if that 5 energy shifts into a 6. And not all of those need to shift into a 6. So it's going to be important to sit in that 2 of Cups, 3 of Cups, 3 of Swords energy, 2 of Cups centered in self, 3 of Swords can sometimes be referred to as like having the rose-colored glasses taken off and really seeing things as they are. Like it's a really mature mental energy. It's very earthly in a way. It is actually Saturn in Libra. So yeah, like that Saturn rules Capricorn. It's very much like the judge, the discerning energy. So that is there, right? Not everybody needs to be a 6. But as long as you stay true to yourself and stay discerning, you know what to say yes to and what not to. And for those of us who have a history of being codependent and trying to be friends with everybody and trying to bring everyone along, no, this is not that time. If your spirit, if your body is not naturally like, oh, yes, I want to go and it's a flow and it's really clear and it's really easy, rather than mental machinations that are happening, you don't need to repeat. I posted this quote earlier. I don't need to bring old lessons to new blessings. So use that quote as a mantra. I don't need to bring old lessons to new blessings. You don't need to play that game with yourself anymore. You already learned. You have your power back. It's okay. I'm speaking to myself too. Like, it's okay. Everybody doesn't have to be a 6. 5 is not contentious. It's just acquaintance energy. All right. Okay. So keep that time frame in mind. Again, some things may root sooner than that, but I would take it as going a little bit longer timeline, longer in quotes, just because we also have Jupiter going in Taurus next. So this Earth energy is really going to be front and center, and Earth energy does not move fast. Okay. Got Ace of Cups and a Devil on the bottom. This is interesting. It feels like it's like a cautionary tale, but it's very much that all that 5 energy. It's like it can go either way depending on how you choose to show up. The Ace of Cups is opportunity. The Devil card represents power and specifically our use of power. So are we beneficially applying our power, our soul power, wisdom we've gained, power we've reclaimed, or are we misusing our power and recreating past behaviors? This energy is always going to be close right now. And it's not there to scare you and be the boogeyman, but it's to remind you that this has been in play for a very long time in your patterning. And so this void energy is how spirit protects you, because it keeps you walking closely with the divine, with that which is bigger than you. It reminds you to not lean upon solely your own understanding or the understanding of the people, mentors, or whatever that you have in your life, but to also lean on that which is bigger than you. And for it to alert you when you are using the positive energy of this, which is Saturn, right? The good steward, or the devil energy of self. It's prison that we create for ourselves. And we'll see it easily. And given the energy that came out, we already have some level of adeptness there. So this is the mastery walk. Devil energy doesn't come out for beginners, right? Like you actually already have to be operating in a certain level of power to come up against that energy, because it's close to the end of a cycle the end of a cycle, right? It's only a few cards away from the world card. The cycle's almost done. And this isn't something that you have to fight. It's really just keep choosing, keep going in the direction you've been going, and be grateful for and devoted to the places of uncertainty that you're sitting in, because again, it's reminding you and showing you that you are actually in new territory. Don't retreat back to the safety of what you've known before, because also this card, the devil, the Capricorn Saturn energy, talks about repeating cycles. So in some way, shape, or form, whatever it is that you might have top of mind in your life, you've actually been here before. And in terms of timing, this would probably be specifically about 14 years ago, 13 to 14 years ago. So look back to your life at that time, and there was a choice that you made, that you felt you had to make, or was able to make with the available options that you knew of and that you had access to, and took a certain path. You're at the same kind of crossroads right now. Now you have more experience, you have more knowledge, which all of that equals to more resources. You have access to more options. Those same options actually might have been present from before, but until you've actually been introduced to new ideas, new thoughts, new experiences, you can't know that they exist. So please don't think that if you're at a place where something similar is repeating, is meaning that you did something wrong or you chose wrong in the past. Like truly, you made the best choice that you could with what you know, what you had available. Now you're here, similar place, not necessarily the same, but for some, it might actually be the same. You're in this place again. What are you going to choose to do differently, right? When you look back to what went into making the decisions that you made before, why you made those decisions, you may be still sitting with a lot of the same decisions, but your why may be different because now you have access to more, again, wisdom, expertise, and tools and options and resources. And resources is not necessarily money, but it can be. So how are you going to show up differently this time? Can you choose differently? This is important. Saturn just went into Pisces, brand new transit. And Pisces is the card of the divine. It is the surrendered, it is the great mystery, like literally. So you're in control of this. And it's really simple, in the moment, consistent, choosing on certain things. And it's not about getting a choice right. It's about making an honest choice. And if you're sitting in a place of fear, it's not really going to be honest. It's just going to be, okay, I need to survive. And yeah, you need to survive. But there's a deeper choice that actually is needing to be made. So, okay. I think we will close. There's anything else popping up for folks, let me know in the comments. Let me know. But I think we are good. There's a lot that got dropped, so I think we're good. We are good. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a few moments to return back to our breath in case we have not been fully present. And take a moment to give thanks first and foremost to our own spirit, and then to Great Spirit, the progenitor of our souls, of our spirit, of all life. Giving thanks for this time of sacred communion and guidance and wisdom that supports the full, true, authentic expression that our spirit wants to have in this life. We affirm how far we have come, and we celebrate ourselves this day. And we also have deep appreciation for that which we are becoming, and as a consequence, that which we are intentionally crafting and cultivating to support what we're stepping into. We affirm that all that we are in our humanity is an expression of our spirit. And we are never separate from it. In fact, we are always aligned with it. And we give ourselves permission to release the lie of separation. And remember that we are gods walking the earth. We give thanks to Mother Earth, our beneficial ancestors, our guardian angels and protectors, our masters and teachers and healers in the spirit, as well as in the physical. Our success is collective. And we commit to getting out of our own way. We can have it all. And with that, I give thanks to the archangels, the spirits of the directions, and the spirits of the elements for holding the sacred container of protection. I now release you at this time. Alrighty, that was lovely. Thank you all for joining me. For those of you who are here live, please do reference this as you need. Even though, again, it was about the closing of the past 6 month cycle, it also was about what's coming ahead, not only for the next 2 months, but we also got an indication, especially with those last couple messages, about things that are in play up until autumn. So this message and the new moon solar eclipse channeling in Aries that I did 2 weeks ago, keep both of those on lock. Okay. Yeah, and again, if you would like to support the work, the donation information should be hopefully scrolling at the bottom of the page, or it definitely will be in the description. So I appreciate that as well. And what else? I will definitely be doing a special channeling for the North Node in Aries transition that's happening in July. It's actually birthday month for me. But most likely that will be a private channeling. Like I'll do an event you have to sign up for. I don't know that I'll necessarily do that as a open channeling like that, because it's such a, it's a longer transit. There's a lot more that you can go into, and I really just need the time and space. Usually those channelings go for a good 2 to 3 hours at least. So just keep that in mind. Definitely sign up for my newsletter. Information for the newsletter is in the description box. You can also sign up on my website. If you go to the homepage, scroll to the bottom, it's there. If you're on IG, if you go to link in my bio, it'll have it there to sign up for the newsletter, but I'll definitely post about that. But that will be an event thing that you sign up for. I won't channel publicly because I need to have more protection in place to bring all that down. And yeah, it's just, it's a longer process. So keep that in mind. In July, that will be coming. And I believe that is going to be it for right now. I appreciate that. This was amazing, Jeanette. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. All right. I appreciate that. And yeah. And please do share in the comments anything that does come up for this. If there's insights that you have or questions that you have, I do pay attention to what comes there. I do comment. I very much like to be engaged with the process. So keep me posted. All right. We are at, oh, it's actually perfect. 11:30 on the dot. All right. I love you all. Thank you for joining me here. And God willing, because tomorrow is not promised, but God willing, I will see you next time. Bye.